Okay, so those are the keys, and we're gonna take the maxi keys as well. And today we're gonna be working on these 2013 BMW Series 1, I believe. This is the M135. The Mariva is awaiting to be collected, and that one, as you might see on the video, is waiting for parts. So with nothing else to work on, we're going to be working on this. So let me just confirm. I believe it is the M135. Yes, it is M135i. And right, so if I can get here somehow. Okay, so the issue with this car was dropped here that long because I've been stuck with the Mariva and that one, that I can't even remember exactly what was the issue with this. But if I do recall correctly, the problem with this is that smokes, but not always, and apparently misfires, and again not always. So the only thing I done to this was I had a look under the bonnet, and I've seen something that I haven't looked properly, but I think, I might be completely wrong guys, I think this engine has been replaced. So not sure if it has or not. Maybe it just be me, but for now let's gonna start it and see exactly what the car does. Oh, this is the hands-free. Okay, so started fine. Shut up. Obviously it's cold, it's damp. Normal to have a little bit of smoke at the start. There we go, it's clearing out. Kind of. I don't think I've seen engine lights on this. Let me open the bonnet so we can look under the bonnet. Oh. You can see the engine sounds okay. Bit of a mess around here. A lot of cables. I don't think this is original, like this, exposed there at the back. And I think you can start here. I don't know if you can see, it's not like, is it missing? It's kind of, I'm not sure if this is right or not. I just want to take the car out of the grass. Pull it forward. Will he allow me to engage gear with the bonnet open? It does. Handbrake. This is manual and brake, so let's gonna pull it out of here. Okay, I'll leave it here for now. If I need to mess too much with this, then I'll have to wait until that one is ready so I can then put this one there. But for now, should be fine here. So let's quickly plug in the maxi because at the moment we don't have any faults. There's no engine light. and the car is looks okay. I haven't drove it. Yeah, it looks okay. So let's quickly plug in the max assist and see if there's anything that can start to point into any direction. Just before we go through the scan, let me just show you that the car is not really smoking, so it's fine. To me, this is absolutely fine. It's just water vapor from what I can tell. There's no smell of petrol or no funny smells or anything like that. Just normal, really. And the engine is actually running not too bad. There is some smoke. Can you see this smoke? There is some smoke coming here from the back of the engine. Don't know if you can see. What the hell is that? It looks like plastic. What the heck's going on here? What is it? It looks like plastic melting. I don't know. Not really sure yet. I'm already kind of logged into the car, so let's just. I don't want to do an auto scan. I just want to go straight to engine. Hope is nothing, not too many codes, I would say. Definitely has codes. There we go. Alright. Valvetronic system deactivator. Adjustment fault too frequent. Valvetronic, servo motor, Valvetronic. Oh! Okay, Valvetronic faults. Okay. Let's go and dig into this. Okay, so a couple of things. One, that smoke that was coming from here, there is a leak. I don't know if the camera is going to be able to capture right there at the back. There's oil everywhere right here at the back. Don't know if it's leaking, but I'm guessing it is leaking, perhaps. And that is dripping right on top of the exhaust. And that's the oil burning. This was me that unplugged it. I was just checking connections, etc. But the reason I think this engine might does not belong to this car originally is because that, and there is bolts missing here on the ECU. Don't know if you can see there. It's supposed to have a bolt in there and a bolt there. Those bolts are missing. All of these at the top is a little bit like this. I don't know if this is normal. This is how it's supposed to be. Something has been blocked in there with a screw. I don't know if you can see. This is the vacuum. It's supposed to be I don't know where these were supposed to go. And you have cables like this completely twisted. Not sure what happened here. I'm not sure if I want to do anything on this. Or if I'm walking into a can of worms. So at the moment I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna try to dig a little bit more into this and decide what to do with this. So yeah, that's where we are. Okay, just my worth to note that code is permanent in there, 133E10. So all the other codes have gone, but obviously it just says the system is deactivated. I don't understand why it's not trying to activate the system again with the codes already erased. There's no engine light. Oh, actually, let me have a look at something here. What? That's why there's no engine light. Because the engine light has been covered. Let me just see if I get this right. Is the engine light supposed to be... Let me have a look. Where is the engine? There it is. So the engine light is here in this corner. And as you can see, when you turn the ignition on, that's strange. That's why no engine light. See, engine light doesn't turn on. Okay, so this engine light has been obviously covered up. Oh man. Oh man. Oh, so that would have to be another thing that I would have to sort. So this has been bodged, definitely bodged, and I'm not sure I want to touch this. I'll have to be... I might get as far as attempt to remove the rocket cover and inspect the eccentric shaft, the motor and all that good stuff to see what's going on in there, but other than that I don't think I'm gonna go much further with this, to be honest. But let me think about it. I think the best way is going to be plugging the ISTA, because ISTA will give me all the tests, the proper tests, etc., which the Maxis doesn't seem to be able to, but I'll have to go through and have a better look. Yeah, we'll go from there. Just doing a measuring on oil level with that leak. I want to make sure the oil level is correct. But yeah, okay, that's why the engine light doesn't come on. That's interesting. So the only thing it needs to have is ignition on. I think when you turn the ignition on, the system tries to move the valvetronic. If it doesn't move, it throws the fault. Possible solutions: second wire NS, yeah, okay, perform valvetronic activation with automatic deletion. Oh, there's a counter. Was there anything to do with that? Okay, let me dig a little bit into this and try to see what I find out. Just so we are on the same page, engine oil level looks like it's okay. So yeah, let's gonna carry on. Okay, and under hot functions there is actually a little bit that you can do here for the valvetronic. As you can see there, startup valvetronic, delete adaptations, variable camshaft timing. Well, that's a different thing, because the valvetronic, guys, is the valve lift. Okay, the timing, the variable, that's a different stuff, that's a different thing. The valve, the fault here was valvetronic, which is the valve lift adjustment, and it looks like from all the menus this is the only thing that has for it. Here it's nothing for it. Yeah, it looks like it's the only one. I don't think it's going to do anything. Okay, so let's see what this does. I'm just curious to see if I can hear. Let me open the door, because I want to see if I can hear the valvetronic moving at all. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna wait until those lights goes off. That's why it says that's when terminal 15 is deactivated. And is off. Then it says to turn it on. Ooh. Oh, it did some noise that I never did before. Yeah. definitely, I was just about to jump out. No fault code is stored for the tested function component. Continue. Okay. Okay. Finish that. Come out. Let me turn ignition off. Not sure if this is what we are supposed to do, but let's gonna let these to go off again. Then we'll start the engine and see what happens. There it is, and it's off. So let me just turn ignition on. It's definitely doing all the noises in there that I was not doing before, or at least is what it looks like to me. See if there's any codes. Is that permanent code? Can I delete that code now? Try to understand what's going on. Surely we might have other codes. Okay, no adjustment possible. Okay, now we have another fault that doesn't go away, but I'm not too worried with that. So we now have a fault in there that I think was not showing before, but obviously the engine light has been covered. So okay, so it looks like we definitely have a problem on this valvetronic system. Let me just I think we're gonna have the same on that live data. Did I show you the live data? Not really sure if I did. So valvetronic, I don't understand why it says active and then it tells me the angle and the set point. It's a little bit out. It's definitely out. Right, so yeah, I think what I'm going to do, guys, not today obviously because it's already getting dark, as you can maybe, you can't really see it, they start to get dark. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Astra out of the way, put this one in there, and I will be willing to remove the cover, and there's a little bit of stuff to remove though to get that cover out, but I'm willing to go to do the effort, take the cover off, look inside of the valvetronic system, see if there's anything visual damaged in there, if there's anything that I can see that is not, that is not okay, and we will try to see if we can fix it. I don't know yet, guys. I think I never worked on one of these, so it's going to be a learning curve for me. But before all of that, I might try to plug in ISTA, because ISTA will give me some measurements that I can do, and some other stuff, and probably activations that the MaxiSys doesn't. So I might attempt that first just before we go any further. But that's it for today, I think. So yeah, I'll see you on the next clip. Okay, so we are back into this, and I'm predicting this is going to be a relatively long video, so I'm going to try to minimize the unnecessary parts. We'll see how it goes. But basically, guys, this is well over a week. I gathered some info, not some info, I gathered some information about this as well. And as I said on the last clip, I'm on ISTA. I already did some work. Obviously, we still have the same faults. If I clear the faults, only that valvetronic deactivation, because of too many faults, whatever stays in there. All the other faults will clear as soon as you start the engine or you try to do any activations. All the other faults comes back. I went through diagrams and a few other things. But what we are trying to do here now is a valvetronic, as you can see in there, is a valvetronic activation. Okay, a stiff or disabled valvetronic system can be activated. So that's what I'm going to try to do. But the reason why I'm doing that is because according to diagrams, and let me show you why I have my test light in there. So the battery is charging, so I'm here just with ignition on, so we don't lose the battery. But basically, guys, we have this power module, as I've showed you earlier. It was all just hanging there, but I pulled it up here. And this is the module. This is a little module. It's like a power distribution box, if you will. And one of the things this power box powers is the valvetronic motor. Is a motor that takes a lot of load, so it has its own dedicated power supply. Although I must say that the valvetronic system connects straight to the engine ECU, but I'm gonna guess that internally there is a straight link with this power supply here, so the load is not taken from the ECU other power supplies, but straight from this one. According to the diagrams, inside of here you have a PCB and some relays, and this is the plug that powers your valvetronic motor. Now the red wire and grey, this wire here on the side with the red probe, is the wire that actually powers the system. This other wire on the side, I'm not back probing at the moment, I just put this here because I was to do other tests, but for now this thinner wire is actually a signal from the ECU to activate the relay. Okay, so I believe it's going to ground. According to the diagrams, I think it does ground. So the ECU is supposed to ground this wire. When this wire is grounded, activate the relay, and you have power coming out from here, from this side. Okay, and that should allow the motor to do whatever. So what we're going to do, so the reason why I have the test light in there, as you can imagine, is when we go through this activation process with Eister, if the system is working as the ECU tries to activate this relay, it should send power to there, and that should come on in there. Okay, so that test light should illuminate at the same time. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to do this, but however, on the next screen, because this is the second time I'm doing this test, because the first time it was not going that well. The recording was absolutely crap, and I don't know how this one is going to be, but we hope that it's going to be better. So we're going to do continue, and as you can see here, there can be many causes for a stiff or deactivated valvetronic system. These include temporarily not optically recognizable material transfer, for example, might be caused via very long constant driving, jamming due to possible software errors on some older integration levels, mechanical damage to the valvetronic system, trace or marks on the eccentric shaft to be detected by visual inspection do not include functional errors, faulty repair, shearing of the eccentric shaft tooth tips by missing fixation, no lubrications of the servo motor, or the combination of a new servo motor with old eccentric shaft. So what he's trying to say here, guys, is if you just so the connection between the motor and the eccentric shaft needs to be a perfect, really low tolerance connection. Otherwise, any play in there, the car will detect that, and that's gonna mess up. That's why replacing only the motor can be a very, very bad move. But we're gonna move, so some of these faults can be corrected and cured by this test module through multiple complete adjustments of the valvetronic system. The test steps required for this are performed in the following. And now we're gonna do continue. So switch off ignition. Now I'm gonna do all of this, and basically what he asks me is to shut off ignition until the main relay drops out, which is going to be, it says in there, but it's going to be when the light in there on the button goes off. And then he asks me to do ignition on again, and then you press in there, which I'm going to do this first time because this is going to fail. Already failed once. This is going to fail because you can't activate the motor. But there's another description there and there that I want to show you. But the main thing why I'm going to show you this first time is because I want to see, which I haven't done the first time, I want to see if there's any power coming to that test light. So it's off, as you can see. So we're going to turn it on. There we go. So there is power going to the motor, which is good. So this to me proves that this ECU is actually trying to activate that motor, okay, which is perfect. That's very, very good. I'm really happy to see that in there. And now we're going to do next. and you have this hourglass going around. We still have that on in there, so this is very good. So does the engine yes, the engine starts fine, no problems at all. He's not going to ask me to start the engine. Okay, in the following steps the attempt will be made to activate the valvetronic system or rectify possible stiff movement. Observe instructions below, blah 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 blah. Now we're going to press next or continue. Might be necessary, yeah, it's multiple terminal changes, so we're going to do that. Okay, and now this is the bit, he hasn't done nothing yet, but this is the bit I wanted to look at. So we still have power to the valvetronic system, so the ECU is energizing that relay, which is spot on. So the limit positions are now being taught in. For these, the minimum limit position and the maximum limit position is actuated 6 times in succession. The current test will be displayed and incremented. For a faulty valvetronic system, the teaching in of limit positions gets terminated, then is repeated 4 more times before the test module changes to the next sequential step. Now we're going to press next, or continue, sorry. As you can see, look, I hear no noises. Teaching of the limit run, okay, you see this? So he hasn't shown me any values or anything like that, and now just tells me to drop it off. So it still powers in there, just tells me to drop off the ignition. So I turn the ignition off, so that should drop when the, so that voltage should go off when the button goes off in there, when the main relay goes off. What I'm trying to show you here is that it shows me no live data, no values at all when we try to do that first step of the learning, because the motor didn't move. And straight away, as you've seen below, underneath, it says for a faulty system and all that description. And as you can see, straight away it's changed to tell me to go off. It's going to try another 4 times, which I know I'm going to have to do 4 times because I already did this test. So I know I'm going to have to go through this process 4 times before it gets to the last screen. Let me see. Okay, it dropped out, so that's off, and the light went off. Now I'm going to turn it on again. The light comes on, and now I'm going to repeat the process again. And you're going to see just that. Okay, it shows me the same stuff. I press continue, hourglass comes on. It's going to do the exact same thing, and I can't hear any noise. And as I said, guys, I'm not going to be here now. There we go. He just asked me to recycle the ignition again, and he's going to ask me to do these another 2 times, so 4 times in total, and then I will show you the last screen. And we got to the final screen, and as you can see, the attempt, come on, focus. The attempt to rectify the stiff movement of the valvetronic system and to activate the system has failed. Replace the following components: valvetronic servo motor, VTC eccentric shaft, and oil spray the nozzle valvetronic. After assembling the parts, the service function to start up the valvetronic has to be performed. Blah 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 blah. So we're not going to go through all of these now because we already know we do have a problem. So important installation notes: coat the bearing positions of the eccentric shaft with engine oil, grease the bearing. So this, as you put everything back in, let's make sure you lubricate everything, etc. But my main thing, guys, for this test was to make sure that was being activated, because if no power is going to the valvetronic system when we try to do this, obviously the valvetronic system would never move because it had no power. Although I'm pretty sure the ECU, or it would make sense that the ECU monitors the current of the motor or the load of this motor as the voltage passes through the ECU. If was no load, it would detect that was no load, I'm guessing, and might throw a open circuit for that motor. I don't know, but anyway, but as you can see, guys, we have voltage in there. The ground, I'm guessing, is going to be taken straight from the chassis, ECU, etc. But we're gonna obviously double check that we have ground on that motor as well on the plug. And from here, guys, I'm already predicting the worst case scenario, which is going to be a valvetronic eccentric shaft replacement and a valvetronic motor replacement. And guys, those things are not cheap. So in order for me to not be here wasting time by removing stuff to then get to the conclusion I really need those parts, and then due to the cost, the owner would say, no, I don't want it, then I would have to put everything back on and not be wasting my time for nothing, basically. So what I decided to do was, and there's a funny story actually. What I decided to do was I rang BMW and I've asked them for the price of these parts. And you have here the price. So the eccentric shaft alone costs £746, as you can see. That's a quite expensive part. But the problem here is you're not going to replace, in my opinion, I'm not going to replace either just the motor or just the eccentric shaft. And the reason why I'm not going to do it, as I said, is because if there's any play, so the motor actuates the eccentric shaft through a worm gear. And basically if there's any play in there, the motor will detect that, the system will detect that play, and it's not going to work. And those tolerance, I'm going to guess they are extremely tight. So it's going to be probably very, very difficult to see anything without having proper micrometers and know the values you'll be looking for. So I'm not going to waste my time like that. So my opinion is that if you replace the eccentric shaft, replace the motor. If you replace the motor, replace the eccentric shaft. Don't go just for the one, because you can just put everything back on and have to take everything off again to do the job all over again to replace the other part. So I've asked for the price of everything, and as you can see, eccentric shaft 746 pence for 746 pounds plus a few pence. I don't know how much, I can't remember now, that doesn't really matter. Then the next part, the valvetronic motor, 356 pounds. And while I'm doing this, I won't do this without these parts. So valve, the gasket cover for the rocket case cover, 50 pounds. And then the valvetronic motor does have a tiny gasket that goes on top, which this one actually is leaking a tiny bit. I don't know if it's leaking or if someone has been messing and left it a little bit oily, but I would replace that anyway for the sake of £7. We'll get that done as well. And these guys is just the parts I'm foreseeing we're going to need. I'm hoping this is all we're going to need. If we need anything else, obviously, then we'll see that at a later stage. Obviously, on top of these guys, we do have obviously the labor. Although my labor, I just do this as a part-time, is not the end of the world. But there's one more job we're going to have to do once this is done, obviously, which is remove the cluster and uncover that engine light, so we get everything the way it should be. I throw these numbers at the owner. The owner is happy to go for it. He said, yep, just do it. And it was funny because I initially gave him this, and then within 10 minutes or so, he texted me on WhatsApp asking me for the part numbers. If I could tell him the part numbers, because he would like to search for the parts. And actually, I will show you the text message here. I told him exactly this. Okay, so yeah, I won't be installing second-hand parts on something like this, because what was the point? To replace something bad with something that we don't know the condition of. So absolutely pointless. And I would not advise you to do that. Yes, it is an expensive repair, especially if you have to pay the full labor costs for someone else to do it. It is going to be expensive, but it is what it is, guys. If you buy a M135i, is the cost associated with it. Unfortunately, is the way it is. But I'm not here to discuss that. I'm here to show you the repair, and that's what we're going to do next. So I'm not going to waste more time with any more testing on ISTA or anything like that. ISTA already told me there's something wrong in there. We checked the basics. The only thing I need to check now is make sure I have grounded that motor, which I'm going to do next, and I will show you. But after that, guys, it's going to be literally start to strip things down to get to those, to get to that eccentric shaft and valvetronic motor. So that's what we're going to do, guys. Okay, so according to the diagrams, guys, the ground is then taken from the ECU itself, from the other grounds, common grounds on the ECU. Obviously we're gonna have that, otherwise we'd have way more issues with the car if grounds were actually missing in the ECU. So the motor itself, it lives underneath here. So this is the plug for it. The motor lives underneath here, obviously. Here we have a plug with these 3 big pins in the middle, which is the phases for the motor. So the motor is obviously a stepper motor that's going to move incrementally for the needs. Right. So the motor is a stepper motor, which obviously is going to move small amounts. I believe, according to the description, is a 5 degree. Is 5 degrees. Activated with pulse width modulation. Duty cycle is between 5 and 98%. I'm not sure. It doesn't says actually. Oh no, it actually says sensor. The sensor is supplied. Blah 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 blah. For the tilt sensor. So the sensor, the rotation of the servo motor can be determined at less than 7.5 degrees. Thanks to the ratio of the screw, this permits a very precise and rapid stroke adjustment of the valves. Okay, so obviously is a really small incremental, a small step at a time, and obviously for that you have all these other pins that connects to the to the angle sensor, etc, etc, and these 3 big pins here in the middle is going to be for the 3 phases for the stepper motor. And guys, I think that's it. We can't do much more now other than start to dismantle all of this and try to get to the bottom of this. Now, a couple things I would like to highlight. I believe you can take them without it, but ideally looks like there is a tool to pull these injectors off. Although I believe you can take them without, because I already took injectors like this out without that tool, but ideally you would have that tool. And obviously, guys, in this case, remember, we're gonna have to take all 6 injectors. And second, which is the most scary part for me now, is going to be that to replace this shaft you need a tool to compress the springs, which I'll show you later what they are, but you need a tool for that, which I don't have. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get someone that can lend me one, because I'm not very keen to spend money on getting a tool to do this to then never use it again or whatever. So I'm gonna have to be careful here on how I'm gonna spend my money on this, because I don't want to do this to then lose money in the end. So we're gonna have to be very careful, but obviously a heads up that you need at least the tool for the springs. If you decide to tackle this job, you need a tool to compress the springs inside, which again I'll show you later. The injectors, again, I think you need a tool. Well, there is a tool definitely to pull these injectors out, but I believe you can do that without it. You can get away without that tool, but ideally you would have that tool as well to pull these injectors perfectly straight, so you don't damage the nylon seals and all that good stuff. But guys, I'm not gonna be here talking anymore now, because the video is a lot of talking now up to this diagnosis phase, and now I think all I'm gonna do is just nuts and bolts, guys. I'm gonna skip a lot. Of these, guys. Look, to take like the fuel lines is just take nuts off, blah 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 blah. Then you have these bolts around here. You just figure things out. I'm gonna have to remove all of that at the back, so it's easier to figure out things. Surely you can do these without really detailed instructions. It's just unplug stuff and pull stuff out. That's what we're gonna do, so let's do it. And here it is, the cover is out, and guys, I've already seen some really concerning stuff. First of all, this has been completely battered, this engine. There's so many things wrong with it, like little things like broken clips, broken plastic things. This cable here, look at the state of this cable. This is the cable that actually feeds this power supply. Look at this. Does this look like it's been melting, or what the hell is this? Anyway, That's not the most concerning thing. So what would you have? What do we have here? What we do have here is, so these are the springs I was talking about that you're gonna need a tool to take the tension on these, because these they are just, I believe they are 6mm bolts or whatever they are, but they are really weak. If you try to force everything down and try to thread into aluminium without taking the tension off these springs, you can really damage stuff. So without the tool, it's going to be a very difficult thing to do. I've seen that a lot of stuff still in place, so we still have the lubrication pipe that goes here on top of the screw thingy in there for the motor, to lubricate the mechanism, the gear mechanism, the worm screw. That was the word I was looking for. So it's still in place, so everything is good. But I've seen something here that I'm not too happy with. Let me see if I can try to place the camera in a way that you can see it. So let me see if I can show you. So this is the gear that engages in the screw gear in there for the worm gear, and is what rotates this valvetronic shaft to lift and drop, to lift or lower the valves. But I'll show you all that in action in a second. But the first thing I want to look at is this. Yep, that was already there, or that was already missing when I got here, and that's a little bit concerning, because where is this bit of metal? Where is this gone? Very concerning, because that could be anywhere. That could cause further issues if he hasn't already. And this is the things that it starts to really worry me if it's going to be viable to do this job. As I've showed you, it's a lot of money in parts, and wow, if that bit of metal went elsewhere and damaged all this stuff, we don't know, do we? It's going to be nearly impossible to look for something that small either way. So, oh gosh, what are we going to do with this? Anyway, so let me show you this. I'm going to have to tell the owner. I'm going to tell the owner, look, there's a bit of metal missing on that. Do you want me to carry on or not? Because I'm not going to do it, in case if that piece of metal went elsewhere and damaged stuff. It's not too big when you look. Well, it has a considerable size, to be fair with you. When it look like that, you can compare with one right after it. So if I put it, I try to align these two. Come on, focus on the other one. You see, it's a considerable amount of metal. So if that gets into the wrong place, it can definitely damage stuff, and we don't know. We really don't know. So the way this works, guys, is here, as you can see. So there's a little thing here. You can put a spanner here, and you can turn the thing around. And I'm going to just turn it around this one time, or I'm going to turn it around just to show you that it is indeed, or you can see a considerable amount of wearing. You don't need to worry about rotate this too much, because there is stoppers at both ends. I will show you in a second. So there is here, so that's one stopper there, and then here has this little thingy here, and that's a stopper underneath. So that's where it stops when it goes the other way. This just turns around and stops on that one in there. Okay, can you see in there that thing? So what I want to look at it now is, I know there is a pipe in there, which is going to be a little bit difficult to show you. I'll do my best. Is how worn those tooths actually are. Look, you can actually see the wearing marks. Look at that. Maybe the other way. You can see a little bit better perhaps. Look at that. You see? You can definitely see the wearing on this, on that cog in there, if you will. It's definitely wearing out. And you can also see, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you these now. I'm going to attempt to put it maybe like so. Do I have? No, I don't. Hold on a second. Okay, so with the camera flash you can probably see a little bit more. So there it is. So that's the warm gear at the bottom. I wanted to look at is, and I'm not going to be able to show you like this, probably I'll have to do it the other way around. Okay, and like so. Can you see how much movement I can do? I'm going to try to focus on both. Oh, come on. Look, before the actually gear worm moves, can you see that? The play? Look, you see? Obviously now he's going to start to catch on the gear. But look, this bit here, he moves without actually moving the gear. So, it's a little bit of play. I don't know which play it should have, but I don't think this should have any play at all, to be honest with you. Another thing that I've noticed is the marks on that motor in there. There is the date stamped here. This is from 2016. The car is a 13 plate, so that was changed just 3 years. Just 3 years after the car was manufactured. That's quite impressive. I will try to show you, but I've tried already with the camera. It's impossible to see, but it's definitely marked 2016 in there. I might try to take a picture with my other phone. Okay, and indeed you can see here 5 February 2016 is the date stamped on this VVT motor, on this, sorry, valve lift motor. So only 3 years after that was replaced. So the car was still probably under warranty at that point, I would guess. Don't know if it was or not, but it doesn't really matter. But that was replaced quite early. So I'm not really sure, guys. I'm gonna ring the owner because I'm really concerned about that little bit of metal. I'm gonna try to poke in there with some, maybe with a flat screwdriver or something like that. See if I can feel a bit of metal somewhere, but the chances of that thing to be here, they are extremely small. Most likely just went around the engine. And yes, if that went down and got caught by the oil pump somewhere, on the filter or whatever, on the pickup, hose for the pump, maybe, I don't know. But what if it's elsewhere? What we're gonna do? I don't know. It's not inspiring me any confidence in doing this, but again, that's up to the owner. I'm gonna give him a call and he will tell me what to do. Okay, and some of you might are gonna say, well, it should be you letting the owner knows what you should do, not the other way around. Which you are actually correct, but obviously what I meant by that is that I explained to him exactly what we are dealing with, and then he makes the call because I explained to him, look, there's a tiny bit of metal missing in there, in a certain place. I can't see it anywhere at the top, and I said to him, most likely that bit just went down with the oil and is at the bottom of the pan. Most likely it's not going to be picked up, although this is a very, very tiny bit, but hopefully it's not able to be picked up by the pump and it's just there relaxing at the bottom of the pan. But it might be that he's still here hanging around. We don't know if he's still here, if he's going to touch something. Look, I don't know. Or guys, it might be that as we start to dismantle things, I'm going to find it. I don't know. But I'm not going to do anything until the owner tells me what to do. And now that he is fully aware of what we're dealing with, he just told me he still wants to go ahead. So we're going to replace this motor and we're going to replace the eccentric shaft. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is literally I'm going to quick ring BMW. I'm going to order the parts, and then I'm going to see how I'm going to do with the tool to remove this. I think the injectors I might get away without the tool. These springs, I don't think I will, so I'll have to see how I'm going to proceed with this. Okay, just rang BMW, ordered all the parts, and their policy dictates that anything that needs to be ordered from Germany apparently needs to be paid in advance, and the eccentric, they have everything else apart from the eccentric shaft, which is on back ordered. Apparently it's going to be available in Germany on the 2nd of December 2023. That is if the date doesn't change. The guy pre-warned me of that, but obviously that needs to be paid. So I'm literally waiting for the owner's email so I can forward the payment link, because it's a little bit of money and I'm not going to use my money for this. He can pay for the parts and all that good stuff. But for now, guys, that's it. I'm not going to work on these now, well, at least for a couple of weeks, I'm guessing. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put the engine cover back in place, just temporarily, just put in there with a couple of screws, so I can then put the engine cover and these back plates, this back plastic, sorry. So if it rains, which most likely it will, it's not gonna go into the engine and just is routed away from the engine. So we're gonna do that. But guys, next time you're gonna see me, it's probably gonna be when I have the parts and when I'm ready to start to do the work. Okay, and a few weeks later we are back onto this. Obviously I had to put all of these back on to obviously protect the engine from water and all that good stuff. So I put all the covers back in, even that, but I just pull it out. So I do have all the parts now, but I was here thinking how to do this, and I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a separate video for this part, on the exchange of the eccentric shaft, the motor and all that good stuff, because I think that would be, if I want to do that, if I want to do this and explain it, take you bit by bit how it's done, it's going to make this video way too long, and I don't want to do that. So what I decided to do is I'm going to do a separate video just for that, as I said, and then I think once that's done, then we'll come back to this video, and we'll do the limit learnings on the motor, and we'll do the run-in or initialization, I think it's called. I will try to do the limits with the cover out so we can see the motor actually doing the limits. The running in or initialization needs to be done with the engine running, so that will have to be for later, but I'll try to do that one just so we can see the motor working and make sure it works, and that there is no other issues. The only other issue that can be, let's hope that is not the case, is if there's something wrong in the ECU itself, on the part that controls the valve lift. So on the other video I'll take you through a little bit more details on the parts we ordered. I had to order a little bit more parts, because let's face it, this is a quite extensive job and you want to make sure you're not going to miss any parts that might be bad, to then get to the end and the job is not done right and this doesn't work. Okay, and I just finished the video now you're going to see next, which is the video for the exchanging of the valvetronic system, eccentric shaft, motor and all that good stuff. As I said to you, I would be making another video for that. Did an oil change, because I decided I'll do an oil change, oil and filter. Started the car, started pretty well, in consideration that all the fuel lines were empty, but started pretty much straight away. I'm going to let it idling for a little bit, and then we are going to try to do the limits learning and all that good stuff. Don't know if I'm going to do it today, maybe I will, maybe I'll do it tomorrow morning. But for now I just need to put the bars in there and assembling the rest of the engine. Okay guys, and it's all sorted, bonnet is closed, everything is in place including the engine cover. Just did a oil measurement and as you can see is spot on, and now I'm going to try to do the learnings, and then tomorrow we will wrap up this bit, because I want to go for a test drive, make sure everything is good, but we also have the engine light, if you guys remember, to resolve, which we need to do that as well. So for the time being, let me go on the menu to do the learning. One of the learnings, which is the limits, needs to be done with the engine off, if I recall correctly. The other one, which is the run-in or teach-in of the valvetronic system, needs to be done with the engine running. So we'll do one at a time, but let me get into the menu first and then we'll carry on from there. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is that just in case, it's that the ECU has been programmed in 2022. Who knows, probably I already tried to sort this problem out, I don't know. And the interesting thing as well is that it comes in there as the production date 2021. Don't know if this ECU has been replaced, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, that's not important for now. So I want to go to display fault memory. So telematics control unit, no communications, that's for the emergency call. Don't know, not really too bothered with that. What I want is look for, so this is my fault memories. Do we have anything? Oh, valvetronic malfunction, existent, no. Valvetronic actuation, volt phase, line disconnection phase, no. And there's nothing else here for that. So if we go to I think it's service functions, let me see if it is, maybe powertrain, engine, electronics, adjustment functions, perhaps. Learning, there we go, learning the limit positions. Okay, blah 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 blah. Let's press continue. I think the engine needs to be off for this. Not met engine. Okay, so the engine needs to be off, so let's gonna turn the engine off. And now key on. Repeat the test, yes. And press continue. Then we press continue. The positions are going to be learned on the next step. Limit positions successfully learned. I could hear the motor going, so that's good. So end the service plan. And now we're going to do the one that is valvetronic run-in phase. Okay, so we'll press display, we'll press next, stop engine, blah blah, valvetronics adjustments are now detected. Switch off the terminal. Okay, so we're gonna have to wait for the actual terminal to switch off, as you can read in there. Okay, so as it says in there, the start and stop light is already off. So switch on terminal 15. Engine ignition on. Press continue. So I was actually going to do the limit positions again. Fair enough. I didn't realize run engine at idle speed. Okay, so the engine is idling. Now we're going to press next or continue. And now this is going to start to rev up the engine. Yeah. So what it's doing is opening and closing the valves. I think obviously the engine like misfires, if that makes sense. Don't know if you want to go there and see it. Right. don't know if you can hear it. I'll show the exhaust because you're gonna hear him better. So it looks to me like it is just idling and is just going with the valves from with the lift position, with the valvetronic going from maximum to minimum. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like it's what he's doing. So we're gonna let it to do it. When it's about to finish, as you can see, it's gonna be 450 cycles. It's done 76 so far, so it's gonna take a little bit. Okay, and we are nearly there. Was already doing it. Let me see, it says 50 trouble-free cycles. Let me see if it's going to require any more, because then it says at least 2 minutes. Nope. Intake successfully completed. Stop engine. Press continue. Service function finished. And that's it. So now let me actually let the car to go to sleep. Wait. And then we're gonna go back to here to troubleshoot, to vehicle information. Then we're gonna clear all the codes, but before I'm gonna let the car to go to sleep, restart it and see if we have any codes, at least for the valvetronic. The rest I was not asked to look. That was the main thing we were looking at, was this. So let's gonna see what happens. Okay, so that's off. Now we are going to turn ignition on, and I'm going to display fault memory. Now we're gonna do delete fault memories. Yes, I want. Okay, so let it to do this, and then we'll see what comes back. Let's wait for the changeover. I just want to see the DME, if it comes with any faults. Fingers crossed it doesn't. And look like it doesn't. We have a green. And look, the box came back on. That's strange. Really strange. It looks like the DME came fault free. So our next step is going to be, there we go, fault free. Look at that. So if I select, obviously it's great because it's, oh, there we go. So if I select one with faults, look at that, no faults. So it looks like we fixed this, and I think the next step is going to be pull the cluster out and see what they did to that engine light and make that engine light come on. You can actually see the engine light right there. Right there, right behind, just a little bit. See, there he is. Engine light there. There we go. So anyway, let's gonna pull this cluster and try to see if we can fix this. Okay guys, and for my surprise, when you watch the next video, everything will make sense. But I was just to check if the injectors were programmed, because on the next video you'll see that I swapped 2 injectors, and I would just come to change them over, and look, none of the injectors are programmed. Zero. All zeros. Nothing has been programmed. So luckily I have pictures of all the injectors, so I know the codes of every single one and their positions. So we're going to program this, and hopefully another thing that's going to be sorted. It is interesting though that the ECU is not throwing a code for injectors not programmed, for example. A little bit weird, but it is what it is. And here we have all the new values entered. Now he's asking me if I want to save these permanently. I'd say yes, I want, and we'll press continue. Switch off terminal R. Terminal R is off. Okay, so that's the current values. That's absolutely fine. Press continue. Switch on terminal 15. Press continue. I just want to read the adjustments values again just to make sure. There it is. Beautiful. So now we'll do continue. No, they are not to be replaced. So now we'll stop this procedure. Yeah, that's fine. Finished. There we go. Now let's gonna start this again. And yeah, it's running fine. No problems at all. Let's do another test. Look at that, DME came fault free straight away. That goes off every now and then for some odd reason. I don't understand why. What the hell's going on with that? But it doesn't really matter because we're not asked to check that. So all we need now, as I said, is remove the cluster, get that engine light to work, and then go for a test drive, and hopefully everything will be okay. But the test drive will definitely be for tomorrow. So that's it, that's nearly done. Okay, and luckily this person, or whoever did this, only covered it up with black tape. Don't know if you can see in there. There he is. So we're just gonna pull it out, and hopefully this will fix the problem. Okay. Okay guys, moment of the truth. Sorry about the glare. Oh, look at that. Now it works. There he is. Beautiful. Sorted. Job done. Job done. Yeah, because I had the cluster out, so I'm gonna have to get all of that sorted. But look at that. Now, another thing I would like to probably highlight here, because I think it's going to be, I would say, let me see if I can get the light slightly different. Okay, just one last thing I want to capture before I forget, which is, as you can see in there, the car has 91,000 miles pretty much, providing this mileage has not been tampered with, but he has 91,000 miles. I believe I showed you the back in the back of this video. There's so many clips now that I don't even remember what I showed you or not, but I believe I showed you that the motor that was in place, that was on this car, the motor for the valvetronic system, was stamped from 2016. Now if you go back on the MOT history of this car, as you can see there, in 2016 the car had 51,000 miles, which means that motor only lasted for 40,000 miles. That was it. Wow. Now we have seen the state of that oil squirter. It could have been that whoever did it last left that wrong and smashed the pipe. The gears have been running dry and ended up obviously damaging it, or it could have been something else. These cars are notorious for problems with the valvetronic system, as you probably already know, but for me it was the first time I had one of these to work on, and I think the only thing left now, guys, is literally tomorrow go for a test drive and see how the car drives, see if it drives fine. I don't have much fuel left, 14 miles left, so I can do about 10 miles, because then he's going to need 4 miles to get to the petrol station. So, but 10 miles will be enough probably for us to drive around the village and make sure it runs okay. That should be okay. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow then, just to make sure we wrap up these tomorrow, and we wrap up these with no faults. Obviously under load, make sure the car does what's supposed to do and that it drives okay. Okay, and that should give us a little bit more range for testing purpose. I'm gonna take the maxi series with me just in case, but what we're gonna do now is obviously test drive this thing. Let's start it up and let it to warm up a little bit. And then we'll take it for a spin. Okay, so let me see if I can take the car out of here without moving the Volvo. Don't know if I'm gonna be able to or not, but we'll try. Right, so now we're gonna do some test driving. If you remember yesterday, the car had about 14 miles left, is now 54, so I can drive for 44 miles, I'll say. But now seriously, I'm just gonna drive around the village around here, get a little bit up to speed on some of the roads back there, where you can go a little bit faster. Just put the car under load a little bit and see how it drives. But so far I can tell he's driving absolutely perfect, no problems at all. So I guess I'll see you when it's done, or I'll see you in between, or I'll see you if any problem arises. Okay, and for you guys that pay attention to small details, you will might notice that the mileage just went up all of a sudden because I went for another drive. So I go back home, turn off the car, let the car to sleep, and then restart it again and went for another drive, and just to make sure, and it drove absolutely perfect. I now only have 22 miles of range, and the owner still needs to come and pick up the car. We will do one last scan just to show you that there is no fault codes. There we go, no fault codes detected. The car is driving really nice, really beautifully. First time driving one of these, and I must say I was quite pleased. The gears change, the gear changing, especially when you go onto sport mode and sport plus, the gear changes are absolutely amazing, really fast, really smooth. I really like to drive this thing. As for the repair, guys, yes, it is an expensive repair, as you have seen, and the costs I've just showed you on this video are not the total costs for the parts, because as I was doing the job, I decided to replace a few more things. The total costs for the parts, including the oil change, are at the end of the next video. So in the description below you'll have a link to the video where we actually do the job, and right at the end I'm taking you through the total cost of the parts for this job. You can probably get a little bit cheaper if you skip replacing some of the bits. That up to you. I'll leave that to your discretion if you want to replace it or not. Plus obviously some parts that we had to replace because someone messed it up previously, so that as well increased the cost a little bit. But it is an expensive repair, and that's without the labor. Obviously the labor, guys, you'll have to ask a garage how much they will charge you to do this. I'm not going to tell you how much I'm charging, because I do this as a part-time. As I already said, did I say it? Maybe on the other video I said it. I do this as a part-time because I like it, because I enjoy doing this stuff. So you can't take my advice on how much this will cost you. But I'm guessing a garage will charge you probably 1 to 2 work days. I think one day, a good one person tackling this from start to finish in one day, I think it could do this. Maybe a little bit more, but I think it could do it. So if you put a rates from a garage for one day of work, is probably about £400, somewhere around there. And if they take a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more. So I would say easy, somewhere between £500 and £600 labor to do this work. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not an accountant, and I'm not here to discuss price. This car still has a few issues that I've seen. It needs a headlight on that side, because the headlight is cracked and there is moisture everywhere inside. There is a couple of faults that you might have seen previously for a hole sensor on that door, I think it is, and some other bits and bobs, but nothing major. The car is perfectly drivable, and that's it for this video, guys. So with no further ado, guys, I do really hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. You know, this topic has been covered by so many people that I'm not adding anything extra. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Yeah, if you do still have any questions or any comments, you know exactly how it works, just put them below. And like always, thanks for watching.